Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? I had a little bit of a connectivity issue on Facebook, but YouTube is running smooth. Super smooth. Can everybody hear me all right? I don't know if I told y'all, but I got some streaming software. Last time I went live, I was just going off of my cell phone. So it's a little upgrade, a little bit of an upgrade. Carson Campbell Logging Inc. How's it going? It's going good, man. Paul, what's up? Denise, hey, you found it. Lemonade Lady AZ, sounded solid, good. Yeah, I got a podcast mic now, a little fancy. And I've got background music. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I'm gonna try and go live more often now. Potentially have guests. Carson Campbell Logging Inc. Did you get your flushable transmitter back? Yeah, but the battery died by the time we got it back. Tell us about your day. So my day is pretty laid back. We've got a family vacation planned this weekend, so we're pretty much just tying loose ends up on these jobs. We had an install we're finishing up, so we got that taken care of, and yeah, now it's time to go chill out for Friday and the rest of the weekend. So Carson, you do logging in Canada, I'm assuming? Where's your next international trip? Probably back to Japan. I enjoyed it so much, so probably go right back next year. Carson says yes. Yeah, I've seen videos of loggers. That's some hard work too. Paul, just don't take a vacation to a sewage treatment plant. You know, the crazy thing is, like, now that I make YouTube videos and stuff, I've honestly thought about just taking trips to go tour wastewater treatment plants or people that do septic. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing that. People probably think it's crazy, but yeah, it would be cool to go to different places around the world, see how they do things as far as the wastewater side of, and I mean, yeah, explore the culture a little bit while I'm at it. I'm going to see if Nova Scotia Power will hire me on their tree trimming crew. Go for it, man. Good luck. Dr. George, how's the competition in this industry? We have a couple competitors, but everybody's pretty cool with each other. Everybody's just trying to help each other out. Go to India. I've had a couple Indian pumpers message me, and I mean, they're out there pumping septic tanks in sandals. So yeah, that'd be really cool to see. Am I married? Almost. Sewage treatment plants sound like a good vacation itinerary to me, Dom. Have you seen what Bill Gates is doing with poop in the world? No, I have not seen. I'm guessing I need to do some research on that topic. $800 to get both septic tanks pumped, mine and my neighbors. Yeah, that seems about right. Was that CAD or was that USD? I don't know which one's higher right now. Yeah, that's like the perfect scenario when you show up to pump out a house and the neighbor wants to pump out too. $350 last year in Ohio. Dang, that's pretty cheap. Works better if you don't have to move the truck. If you don't have to move the truck, that is, I mean, I dream about situations like that. Shoot, I got ripped off 500 in Indiana. A lot depends too. Depends if they have to dig up the tank. Depends how thick it is. Depends how big it is. How many gallons they had to pump out. So, yeah, it just depends. Carson, CAD, okay. Dr. George, so how much does a pump truck cost? So it just depends on the size of the tank you get on the truck. I mean, the new trucks, some of them you're almost spending about $250,000 or higher. But you can probably get a good used truck for about $90K. Like a smaller truck. $775 here in Colorado. Dang. Yeah, it's pretty steep, but it depends on what they're being charged to dispose of it. How much money does the plates cost for your tanker around here? $1,000 for a 33,000 pound plate. I gotta ask my dad. He's the one that deals with all that. How concerned should I be if my septic was installed back in 1959? So far, no issues, but I think it's a ticking time bomb. If it were me, I would try and find a tank. If it's from 1959, I highly doubt the county has any record of it, but you could try. But yeah, find the tank, see what it looks like. Or hire somebody to find it. Paul went on a tour of a sewage treatment plant when I was in high school. It was actually interesting. It is crazy how they deal with all of that. They pretty much treat the wastewater to the point to where it's okay to drop it into a creek. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Word up from Dripping Springs. Dang, that's pretty close by. Definitely needs to get a pump out because that sludge will go into your drain field. Yeah, for sure. It's just like when somebody tells me that their tank is like from 1950, 1960 and it's never been pumped out, I start wondering like what there's got to be something going on. $5.50 in Arizona for an inspection only, in and out under 10 minutes. Oof. That's pretty crazy. Get a riser put in. Yeah, always put a riser in. That way you don't have to dig it up the next time. What's a good margin for pumping, not including fuel and disposal? I gotta crunch these numbers. I'm just a worker. If I say Austin, you'd say there ain't no septic there, so I picked the next town over, closer to you in the hill country. No, there is. You'd be surprised. I pumped out septic tanks like pretty close to downtown Austin. They still exist. My tank's from 1955. I'm renting a home, and the septic and plumbing wasn't working. The landlord thought everything was working just fine. This adventure led me to find you. Well, hopefully it helped out. We've been dealing here pretty recently with some pretty sketchy landlords, so I'll feel for you. It's always a tough situation. We've been burned a couple times because we'll show up. Somebody will call us, so we'll show up, find the tank, pump it out, unclog it if we have to. And then when we go to pay the bill, it's a tenant. They're like, well, my landlord's going to pay the bill. I'm just a tenant. And the landlord's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. It didn't need pumping out. So now we, on those situations, we get payment up front. If the landlord doesn't want to, that's on him. But it's not a good look when your home and the tenant's home now, where they're staying, has overflowing sewage, or they have a problem with sewage. It's not a good look. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, but we've been seeing it a lot in our area too. Bandera and San Antonio, yeah. I'm pretty familiar with that area. I don't go pump out over there, but I know a couple pumpers. It's been 30 years since my uncle pumped his tank out, but when he passed away, me and my father dug. Our up sludge is almost up to the outlet. That was 4 years ago. Dang. I know you hate wipes, but I took a wipe from 3 different manufacturers and put them in a glass jar for 3 days. With only minor agitation, after 3 days, there's only one brand that completely dissolved. Now, I see those tests, and the main thing that kind of gets me on these tests, and kind of what I explain to everybody, think about this. You have a septic tank in your yard, so when you flush it, it's not being agitated after that initial flush. So it's going to go down the toilet, through the pipe, into your septic tank, and it's going to stay there. There's nobody with a little thing stirring it up. It's going to stay there. Now, a lot of people, they buy these flushable wipes, and they're using like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at a time, flushing them down the toilet. If you look at these flushable wipes, they have a manufacturer label on the back now that says you use 1 wipe per flush, and it's flushable under the circumstance that your septic tank is inspected and pumped out annually. I have never met anyone in my life that pumps out their septic tank or inspects it every year. So they're kind of trying to cover their ass on that. But you run into these instances, if it's like 1 or 2 people living in the home and they're not flushing a whole lot of flushable wipes, yeah, it's not going to get that bad. But we go into these situations where it's a household of 5 or 6 people, and they're flushing wads of flushable wipes. So by the time we get there, there's a crust of about 12 to 24, 1 to 2 feet crust of flushable wipes. That's how much they're flushing in a short amount of time. And yeah, it's flushable. It made it into the tank, but it makes it so thick, and it'll eventually clog them up. What's up, the jacked pumper? Skip the wipes, install a bidet. Yeah, the bidet is the way to go, for sure. How much money you make for cleaning a chocolate? So, the minimum we pump out a septic tank now is $4.50. Gotta get in there with your hand and splash it around. Agitated. Oh no. Mine is aerobic. I use 1 wipe per flush. Love your channel. I watch when I eat breakfast. Well, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, have fun shopping. Yeah, they are a pain to pump out. Yeah, these treatment plants, some of them, they will refuse your load if you got too many wipes in there. Is it getting more expensive to empty your truck? Yeah, year over year, they're constantly raising their rates. So right now, we're looking at about 12 to 15 cents per gallon to dispose of septic tank waste. So you look at it, the average tank is about 1,000 gallons, so it costs 120 to 150 bucks just to dispose of it. Can you use garbage disposal in the sink when you're on septic? Just pump it more often, or is it a no-go? Yeah, if you don't mind pumping it out more often, yeah, go for it. But I usually recommend against using them. I would say get as much food off the plates into the trash as possible. Just don't go crazy throwing stuff down that garbage disposal. Phantom Kid, I love your vids. I appreciate you watching. Yeah, I know of people that they're being charged crazy amounts to dump right now. Has this always been your dream job, or did you just grow up around it? Yeah, so my dad got into it. I didn't even know what a septic tank was when I was a kid. So yeah, he got into it later in life, and the business started growing, so I joined him. But I love it now. Most people would think that's crazy, but yeah, I love being out there doing it. When did you come up with smells like money? What was the breaking point? So it's a pretty common saying. The first time I heard it was with like ranchers, stuff like that. They drive those semi trucks that have a bunch of cows in the back. So actually, when I was working at a truck wash, they would come in and our manager would be like, smells like money. When a trailer full of cow poop would come in. So yeah, that's where it started, where it kind of stemmed from. So I thought the same thing with septic. Like, you open it up and everybody's like, oh, and I'm like, smells like money. What does your dad think about your social media videos? He loves it. He makes videos himself too. Did you start off with your own business, or did you work for someone else? So it's my dad's company, so I'm working with him. Do all tanks have 2 lids? I think mine only has 1, built in 2000. It depends on where you're at. In Texas, if it's built in if it was put in 2000, it's guaranteed probably to have two separate lids. But yeah, it just depends. I've seen some that have 1. I've seen some that have 3. It just depends on where you're at and what they commonly put in. Hey man, I inspected my tank and there's no inlet baffle, just a 4-inch pipe coming in. That okay? It just depends on where you're at. I know in Texas they require an inlet baffle, and there's some people that are so against inlet baffles. They're like, oh, it's just gonna clog up. I need to make a video about inlet baffles and why they're like what their purpose is, because you think about it. Let's see if I can pull something up. All right, so can you see that? Let's see. Let me get a little closer. All right, so you can see this is a cross section of a tank. Or, let me turn the mic, sorry. Probably can't hear me. Alright, so we got a cross section of a tank right here. Now, if the wastewater is just coming in through an open pipe, what it's going to do is it's going to disturb that floating scum layer. What the inlet baffle is, what the purpose of it is for the wastewater to go underneath that floating scum layer. The way I explain it to people, let me go sit back down. The way I explain it to people is the septic tank itself is kind of like a filter. You want to keep as much of the floating solids and the sunken solids in the tank as possible. You just want water going through your outlet and into your drain field. So if you just have a straight pipe going from your house into the septic tank, you're going to disrupt all that floating scum, and it's going to break up into smaller particles that could potentially move over and out through your drain field. So I personally would recommend one, but it just depends on your state whether they require one. I'm also not a snitch, so you can do whatever you want with it. What's your dad's channel? Similar content? No, it's not similar at all. He just does his own thing. Also, when you open those septics, you breathe through the nose or the mouth to not get the smell in. You gotta embrace the smell. I'm not afraid. Inlet baffle keeps tank from getting stirred up. Put an inlet on there, and if you are worried about clogging, use a 6-inch baffle. Yeah, it just depends on how deep your tank is, because I've seen people put that extension way too low, so like any amount of sludge clogs them up. Quickly turn to an educational stream. That's the main point of it, is to get people to ask questions so I can answer in real time. So that's great. What do you and your dad laugh about? Is he a funny guy? He seems very young to be your dad. Yeah, he's hilarious. He's the life of every party. I'll try and get him in more videos. Did your dad teach you everything you know, or did you have to go to a plumbing trade school? So he kind of learned on the spot too. So we're pretty much learning as we go. And yeah, we've just been getting progressively better and better at what we do. Learn a lot from a bunch of people in the industry. Of course, there's classes you can go to, trade shows, things like that. So if you really want to get into the industry, I'd recommend going to one of those and networking, meeting new people. Everybody's super willing to help, and everybody loves talking about what they do. I mean, that's really one thing I love about the industry too. Luckily, I don't have scum, just a nice water layer from no wipes. From Virginia, and both sides are all water. Kudos to you, good job, perfect. That's what you want. You don't even want that much of a floating scum layer. I've done kind of a simulation on my personal septic tank. I'll open it up, and I usually run a core sampler, and yeah, I have hardly any floating scum. I have no sludge. We have bidets on all of our toilets. No paper, no grease. It should last a really long time. Have you ever been to any developing countries and see how they do septic? My wife's family septic has no opening for pumping. Don't even think that there's a thing there, and no land for a drain field. I've seen people will send me videos all the time. I've seen some from the Philippines. The crazy thing about the Philippines is some of them actually get inside of the tank while it's still full, and they sift out the solids. So somebody will go in there with a net or a bucket, and they'll pull out the trash, and then they'll throw them the hose while they're in there. crazy, crazy stuff. And I would like to go see it personally. So what do you like to do in your free time when you're not making a poop smoothie? Recently I got into running, so I'm training for a marathon in December. I like playing Pokemon Go. I play Fortnite, hiking, fishing, editing. I really enjoy making videos. If there's already several other pumping companies in my area, would it not be a good idea to try and open a business of my own, or how saturated can the area be with businesses, do you think? I mean, if you offer something that will set you apart, I don't think more septic companies is a problem. Just I mean, I think that's with anything. If you can really set yourself apart and offer a service that surpasses everybody else, you won't have a problem. But I mean, it's always a risk, you know, with anything, whether it's like a septic company, a restaurant, things like that. Trizzle, sup y'all? What's up, Trizzle? Yo, what's up? It's all pink on the underside. I'm not gonna ask. How thick is the dirt layer above your septic? Mine is to the surface. There's no dirt above it. My wife's from the Philippines. Yeah, ask her about some of those septic tanks. If a house has a lot of people with long hair and it goes down the drain, does this ever cause an issue in the septic tank? It is okay for hair to go down the drain with a septic system. I have a pretty specific answer to that. We actually pumped out a house where they had a ton of dogs with long hair, and they were bathing the dogs in the house, and there was actually so much fur going down that drain that it completely clogged up the line to the septic. And even in the septic itself, there was a ton of dog hair. Oh my goodness, that one was rough. So yeah, if you have long hair like me, I would recommend getting kind of like a guard above your drain that catches the hair before it makes it into your tank. That's going to prevent any clogs or issues in the long run. The railroad tracks in other countries are the train septic system. The poo just drops on the tracks. That's crazy. I've ridden on a couple trains before, and they have little holding tanks underneath where a septic truck can hook up their hose and pump it out. Sounds cool, man. I tried Fortnite for about 2 weeks before realizing shooters aren't my thing. Let me tell you, man. So, like, when I was in high school, I mean, I'm 30 now, which is crazy. But when I was in high school, I was so good at video games. I was good at Call of Duty. I liked playing Kingdom Hearts, RPGs, a lot of stuff like that. But then I got to a certain age where I stopped playing video games as much, and I got rusty. So when I tried to play a new game, I felt like if I was playing an online game, I felt like I was terrible at it. But the more and more I play Fortnite, the better I got at it. So don't give up. I really enjoy it. They always implement a lot of cool collaborations. So like right now they're doing like Pirates of the Caribbean, X-Men, stuff like that. And my girlfriend plays with me, so we play together. So that's kind of a bonding thing between us. How many hours do you typically work a week? So we try and keep it right around 40, but there are instances. Sorry about that, y'all. Had the stream cut out for a little bit. Okay, let's go down. Do you have your motto "Smells like money" on your truck? Because that's awesome. The motto on the back of the truck, the one that I drive, it says "Honk for chocolate milk," and I get a lot of honks. Everybody enjoys that. Do y'all do grease traps for fast food restaurants? What do y'all charge for those? So for grease traps, those are pretty expensive. We usually charge a little over $1 a gallon to pump those out. I'm a pumper myself. You're doing the industry a lot of good, buddy. I appreciate that, Charles. Yeah, I'm trying to do my best to put the wastewater industry in a good light. I know a lot of us, we work hard. It's a thankless job, so I just want to give them the recognition they deserve. Everyone across the board. Only game I play is World of Warcraft and Dead by Daylight. Other than that, mostly RPGs. Do you have a gaming channel? No, I don't. This is another hobby I like. I like collecting Pokemon cards. So I've thought about like doing a Pokemon card channel, but yeah, maybe later down the road, because yeah, that's one of my favorite pastimes. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying a new stream setup, so I've got an actual camera connected to my computer, and I'm wondering if my computer is too small to handle it. I used to play League of Legends back in the day too, but that will consume your life. You found any cash in the septic tanks? I found a dollar once, but I've seen people send in that they found like 10 bucks, 20 bucks, and they pulled it out and let it dry. So I'm sure they used it to buy something. Price of a good pump truck? This may be a little steep for some people, but I'm going to say at least 90K for a good pump truck. And the profit, that's all going to depend on your area, what the price of disposal is, how many you get done. When I get the crust buster off the truck, kids know what it's called because they watch your videos. I'm not kidding. That is awesome. Are you planning on having kids, or are you too worried they're going to smell like money too? No, I'm excited. I really want kids. I want to get them, yeah, introduced to the septic side of things. I just think it's really cool, the industry we're in. So, yeah, I'm probably, like, when I have kids, I'm going to get them licensed and everything, get their CDLs. So that way when they go out into the world, if they want to continue in the business, they can. But if not, at least they're licensed and they've got something that they can utilize to make money. Do you think preppers ever hide valuables in septic tanks? That's a good question. I don't know about that. I don't think I'd want to use anything that was in the septic tank. How much do you charge usually? How do you determine that price? So a lot of times we charge based off how many gallons a tank is. So there's usually a range. So like most residential tanks in our area range between 750 to 1500 gallons. So we got a price range for that. Aerobic systems are a little different. We have a different price for that. If they have filters that need cleaning, if we have to locate it, if we have to dig, that can all go into determining how much it's going to cost. Are risers more common these days with new construction, or do they still skip on them? So actually in the state of Texas now, it's required that new installs have to have risers 2 inches above the surface. So it's becoming less and less of an issue, but we still run into a lot of old systems that do not have risers. I love your poop soup videos, brother. They're great. I appreciate you watching, Adam. Do I do sewer liners? No, I don't. I know a couple people that do. It seems like a pretty lucrative business. Maybe later on down the road. Right now we're mainly focused on the pumping side and the install side. What's the max capacity of the pump truck? So we got one that's 2,500. We've got one that's 2,300. Well, we got two that are 2,500, and we've got a small slide-in unit that's 600 gallons. What's the worst job you can remember doing? Actually, one that I did the other day. It was an RV tank that it went a full year before it was pumped out. Now, septic tanks, they've got water constantly going in, bacteria doing its thing, so it kind of kills the smell. But RV tanks, Whew. That thing will sting your nostrils, and that's what it did. It smelled terrible. Hey man, you've educated me how to inspect property properly, so thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. A lot of people in our area, they still do the run water in the house for so many minutes, and if the septic tank doesn't back up, it's good to go. No. Hell no. What made you want to start recording and posting your work, and what do you think made you as successful as you are with your growing fan base? It kind of started as an inside thing. There's a couple of groups where pumpers kind of gather. So a big thing was posting your unclog videos. And it's crazy looking back at it because I started, I tried to start Money Shot Monday in one of these pumper groups and 0 reactions. Nobody said anything. But now it's become a sponsored event every Monday. And these videos get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of views on some of these Money Shot Mondays. And it's really cool because it's not just my money shots, it's people sending in their unclogs. So TNT Tools, they will send whoever submitted the video a probe and they get traction. They have all their company info on the video. So it's really cool to see. I think it's just, if I had to say anything, I'd probably say it's just me being genuine. It's like, I don't know any other way to put it. I really think people like my personality and my positive outlook on what some people may not see as a positive job, but yeah, I think it's that. So I'm happy and I'm appreciative of everybody that enjoys watching the videos. Diego, bro, you're so awesome. It's so cool to see you interacting with your people. I keep kicking ass, bro. Love learning from your videos. I appreciate you watching, Diego. Halloween costume, dress up as a poop smoothie thing. Shit happens like the Predator 2. I've got a couple Halloween ideas. I don't want to spoil them. I've got some cool ideas. We'll see. I'm gonna go all out this year. Do you have a fancy bathroom? What kind of toilet do you have? I can't think. I think it's an American Standard toilet, but I have a cheap bidet from Amazon, but I want the fancy Toto one. Those Japanese bidets are next level. Not only are your videos great fun, you're also a super nice person. I appreciate that. James Games. Hi, what's up, James? What type of drainage fields do you install popular down there? It's a lot of infiltrator panels. If it's not an infiltrator panel, it's going to be a aerobic treatment system. When you use your water hose to shoot water in the septic tank, where do you get the water? Usually from the customer's house. I have a truck that has a water tank on it, so we can use that if we have to. But yeah, most of the time we use the customer's water. Trizzle, your content is great, like the teaching and your personality. I appreciate that, Trizzle. Yeah, I try and educate both like pumpers that are starting out in the industry as well as homeowners. It benefits both sides in the long run, honestly. If the homeowner knows more about their system, the do's and don'ts, it makes it easier on the pumping side of things. All right, y'all. I think I'm going to stay on for about 2 more minutes. See if you got any final remarks. Now's the time. I got to eat dinner. What was your worst you dealt with so far? Gosh, there's been so many. You deal with these houses where there's like an active user. You know, you find syringes, baggies, things like that. I've seen that in a septic tank. Wipes. I've seen tanks where they flushed so many wipes that's solid top to bottom with wipes.